Well, greetings and welcome to a little chat about palming. In this introduction to the craft of palming, I'll introduce you to the 3 standard palms and how can you apply those to different objects. So let's get started. Most valuable palm in my experience is the finger palm. The finger palm is concealing an object at the base of your 2 or 3 fingers as they curl naturally. This is from this side, it will look something like this, and it's a very simple palm. It takes very little muscles to execute it. The hardest thing to do probably is to do it naturally, to palm it without looking like you're palming anything. Like most palms, it's helpful if you're holding an object. Finger palm certainly applies here. And take note that when I hold another object, or even when I'm just maybe pointing, I can also use this finger palm in the Ramsey subtlety. This is the Ramsey subtlety, and it kind of keeps an open palm gesture while keeping that object secretly concealed. So there's a couple tips. Hold an item, practice naturalness, consider the Ramsey subtlety. Note, I'm using a dollar coin. I think that's probably the best fit for my hand. $50 are very popular with magicians, and a good medium coin. The idea is to use something a little bigger to make it easier for your audience to see. If you have smaller hands, you might consider quarters. I don't think I'd go smaller than this, and this is probably too small. Even if you think you have small hands, just a little bit of practice and you'll be using that. So that's the finger palm, and I'll refer you to the Vanish tutorials on how to apply these palms, specifically that one. It's very useful. Take note, it's the same way for balls here, finger palm. This is real useful for like the cups and balls, like this is a drop vanish. You can make your balls vanish that way. Just dropping it right to finger palm. Boop. Ramsey. And also if you have sponge balls, that's the major palm with the sponge balls. Although sometimes we'll use the thumb palm as well, and that's what we're going to discuss next. So here's our segue to the thumb palm. The thumb palm is clipping an item in the crotch of your thumb. So there it is, pinched between the thumb and kind of the base of the first finger. And as I learned from Bobo's Modern Coin Magic, a book we reference in the magic book list, this is a good way to get into it. The thumb palm has an item clipped between the first and second fingers. You'll bend those fingers in, and as you bend them in, that item goes into the thumb crotch. This is generally done under the cover of like a hand. Say, for example, in the thumb clip Vanish. I don't do this one in my repertoire, but it might look something like that. So as I pretend to put the coin in the hand, I thumb clip it. That's a bonus bit of information. Again, I'm going to refer you to the Vanish tutorials if you want to learn how to make things disappear. I'm going to give you some practical methods over there. The thumb palm is used not as much as a Vanish technique, more for a concealment for other things. So that's a useful one, although not as useful as the classic palm. And this is the big one, the Mamu. Maybe not as useful for balls as it is for coins, but you can do it. The classic palm will give you basically a 5th hand, or a 6th hand if you can do it with both hands. It's concealing an object in the palm of your hand by squeezing at the sides, the left and the right, not the top and the bottom. A lot of people make that mistake. When they palm, they try and squeeze from the top. That's going to bend your hand. You're going to be fighting an uphill battle when you try to get this palm to look natural. But if you squeeze it from the sides, and again, that's a $50. And we can do this with a quarter. We can do it with dimes, but there's no real reason to. A note on the classic palm. It takes some work. You can practice it pretty much in your daily life everywhere you go because it does give you an extra hand, basically. In other words, this isn't going to interfere with, like, say you're using your computer mouse, or maybe you're just watching TV or a movie. It's very convenient to place really any palm you can practice on the go. And that's how I learned it. I just kept coins in my hands for years, really. But, a month probably to get comfortable with the classic palm. And boy, once you get comfortable with this, you'll love it. It's an invaluable technique. Before we leave the palming, I'll just mention on the classic palm, it's kind of, it's not the same. It's not the same, but I want to touch base on a card palm because people ask about palming cards. This is a card palm. It's held between the tip of the pinky and the base of the thumb. The fingers might curl to make it a little more natural. And I get that by just pushing the card off the deck a little bit, just a little bit. And then you apply some pressure with the pinky and that card pops right into the palm. So it's possible to do that with one hand. And it takes a little practice, but that's a one-hand top palm. And if you're interested in learning card magic, that's probably something you want to practice. The two main things I'd suggest are learning the finger palm and the classic palm. You get those two down, that's really all you need to know. And with that information, I bid you adieu. Go practice.